Hello, my name is Dr. Katherine Weintraub. I'm the adjunct professor of saxophone at Southeastern University, and I'm also a private instructor in Tampa, Florida. Today, I will be demonstrating and teaching the 2020 Tenor All-State excerpts for 11th and 12th grade. I'll be starting with the Lyrical Etude and giving some tips and tricks there. Then I will proceed to the Technical Etude, and I will do the same. Here is the Lyrical Etude for 11th and 12th grade tenor saxophones. When preparing any lyrical etude such as this, special attention should be, of course, paid to the style and the sort of mood that you're trying to portray. When somebody's listening to your audition, they should almost forget that they're listening to an audition because they're being drawn in by the music so much. So the marking here, andante amabile, is referring to a tender and gentle style. So we really want the mood to reflect this. Specifically, the articulation. The articulation should never be too harsh or short. There are some staccatos written, but think of those as being more kind of light and bouncy rather than harsh or clipped. Other than that, we should be thinking in very long phrases and have a clear idea where these phrases are so we are able to blow across the bar lines in order to portray these phrases. I see that this etude is divided first into an 8-bar phrase, and then a longer 12-bar phrase, and then another 8-bar phrase. So if you have a good idea of where these phrases lie, you'll be able to portray the lines a lot more clearly. With any etude that's unaccompanied, especially with the slow etude, a clear pulse must be established and maintained through the entire excerpt. So even though it's slow, always, as much as you can, practice with a metronome and make sure that you are being very clear with your subdivisions. There are a number of dotted 16th note, 32nd figures in here. Make sure those are being subdivided. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, like so. As you can see, there is a very, very short cadenza in here, the ad lib marked in the first measure of the second line. This can be played with a small amount of freedom, I would say. It is a cadenza. It is your time to be more expressive and flexible with the rhythm. However, the rhythm is specifically marked as a pattern of 32nd notes, then 16th notes, and then 8th notes. So try at least somewhat to adhere to these subdivisions. So that way there is just a sense of kind of measured freedom and that it's just not a complete free-for-all in this cadenza. Besides that, you will of course want to practice with a tuner as much as you can. There is a number of Well, there are a few high notes in here, up to high E. You'll want to make sure that that high E is in tune with your middle E. The middle register in particular on tenor saxophone tends to be very sharp. So you'll just want to tune these octaves and make sure that you are playing in tune with yourself. Last but not least, you want to clearly establish your dynamic range. So that way your loudest dynamic, which is forte, clearly contrasts with the softest moments in the etude. I'm now going to demonstrate and teach the technical etude for the tenor saxophone 11th and 12th grade all-state audition. When learning an etude like this, pay special attention, of course, to the written articulations, but strive to make them sound as effortless as possible. So you don't only want to get them off the page with accuracy, but you want to have them fit with the style. Tempo di polacca means tempo de polonaise, which is a lively dance. Chopin popularized this style with many of his piano pieces, and they have a very lively, almost humorous kind of character. With that in mind, we want our staccatos to be nice and light and bouncy. Like I mentioned before, I like to think of the syllable da instead of dit when it comes to the staccatos. Di da di da 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 da. That will allow the staccatos to speak in a nice, light and bouncy manner instead of them sounding too harsh. I mentioned before, tempo di polacca is referring to a polonaise. This is a type of dance that is always in 3/4 time. Since this piece is in 3/4, the distribution of the beat is quite important in that beat 1 should always be the most important beat of every measure, and especially the beginning of every 4-bar phrase. So when thinking in this kind of style, we always want to have the energy moving to beat 1, have this come across when you're playing it. With that in mind, practice a lot with the metronome, but think of that kind of agogic emphasis of everything moving towards beat 1. With the style, we also want to think in nice long phrases. This will help facilitate using a nice, smooth, uninterrupted airstream, which will not only help the phrases come across, but will also facilitate our articulation speaking more smoothly and less clumsily. Lastly, the ornaments in this piece, namely the trills and grace notes, can be rather tricky. So I'd recommend first learning the etude without any ornaments, and then when you add them back in, making sure that they are not only in time with the metronome, but that they are also in style, that they sound playful, graceful, and never rushed or frantic. The point, of course, is never to fit as many trills in as possible to the part of the beat, but to make it sound in context with this polonaise-like style that we're going for with this etude. So with that, I hope you found these tips and tricks to be helpful. Happy practicing and good luck.